Morning, everyone. It's the 10th of November. We're Signal Centre Talking Bull. I'm Joe Neighbour, joined by Steve O'Hare. Morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Everything all right today?
Yeah, not bad today.
Good. Not too great for poor old Elon today, though. He lost 50 billion yesterday.
It's a little drop in the ocean, mate. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Crazy, eh? So yeah, Tesla lost about 200 billion in value yesterday during its biggest back-to-back sell-off since September 2020. That was amid a host of negative news, like Elon Musk's Twitter poll that we talked about, his brother selling shares just a day before the tweet as well. So all in all, it's dented his net worth by about $50 billion so far this week.
Hold on,
So
hold on, hold on a second. Hold on. Tesla started. What I don't know what price Tesla started at. Pretty much probably $100, because obviously it's maybe you have to put some sort of like capital up to start a company. He started it and he's sold 10% of his shares, maybe. So he hasn't really lost any money. He's probably gained billions.
he's doing all
So I
right for
don't.
himself, I
Yeah,
think.
I'm not too. Yeah, a bit naughty. If is his brother a director of the firm? Don't think he
I
is
don't
he?
know actually, but I guess it's not inside information, though, is it? Because he's publicly said he will sell the shares if the vote goes his way. So his brother's watched it and seen what happened.
Yeah, but no, has his brother sold the shares before he tweeted? I might sell
No,
10%.
before the end of the poll.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well then, not a problem then, is it?
Don't know. Still a bit stinky, isn't it? But anyway, we'll
Yeah.
fly over that.
Mm.
Okay, so President Joe Biden spoke with chief executive officers of Walmart, UPS, FedEx, and Target to discuss easing the supply chain bottlenecks, hoping to sort that out ahead of the holiday season. In France, Emmanuel Macron sought to rally the French and encourage them to get vaccinated while presenting a bright outlook for the economy in a national address that took place yesterday. He still hasn't confirmed whether or not he'll be running for the next elections, which take place in April next year. So, not long before that will be around. The US government projected that global oil markets will become oversupplied and the price will fall by early next year. I don't know if that's had any impact on the chart, Steve, but we'll come on to that shortly. The calling expectations that the White House may tap the national emergency reserves. So, worth keeping an eye on if that has any effect on prices today. It's also crude inventories today at 3:30, so could be some decent price action in oil today. The Asian markets lost a bit of ground overnight, and we're a little bit in the red today, I think, from what I've seen on the indices, although we may have just bounced back in typical 8 a.m. fashion. But we'll come on to that all shortly. So let's get stuck into some charts, shall we? Steve, what's catching your eye today on the technical front?
Well, I've just produced a energy video looking at oil, funnily enough. And so I can run through that. I've taken a look at the levels. I'll do it very quickly, so try and summarize it. So we're in an impulsive move higher on the weekly chart. We've stalled in this move higher, posted a hanging man candle and a negative candle last week, but this week we've seen price action lifted, so prices move higher. On the daily chart, it shows this bullish channel that we broke out of, and we're retesting the bottom of that channel. Volume over the last 3 days, although price has gone up, volume has dropped off over the last 3 days. So unless we break above $84 or $85, I would say this is just a minor correction higher in this short-term downtrend, which we can see on the 4-hour channel. We can see this 4-hour channel downtrend. We're just above it. Really need to clear the $84 level to make any headway. Similar sort of price action in Brent. Obviously, the one level above of resistance that really I'm keen on is this October 2018 high, which comes in at 86.62. But again, hanging man candles, 3 negative candles on the weekly chart prior to this week's uplift. So obviously you've got oil inventories later as well. So watch out for that. Natural gas is quite interesting. That's reacting lower. Now we have got this double bottom formation. The neckline of the formation comes in around about $4.80 to $5, and we're retesting that level. The measure the move target for this is a move up to 818, and so really sort of keeping an eye on that. In the 4-hour chart, we can see this downward trending channel moving towards this level of support, and you can see over that period, volume has been dropping off. Gold has stalled. Let's talk about the 1834 level, shall we, which we've been mentioning for weeks and weeks and weeks now. It's got up there, stalled in front of there, and retraced back down to 1825. The dogs are even excited about the gold. The MACD has crossed over to the downside, so this looks like a rejection. Hanging man candle, bearish candle after that, and yeah, looks to be stalling there. If we look at the bullish flag that we're drawing on the weekly chart, that's the top of the that channel. So if we do get a reaction lower from here in gold, that does fill me with a little bit more confidence that we will see lower prices in the coming weeks and months. 1834 is key. Really need a weekly close above there and a strong weekly close above there to shake off this bearish channel that we're forming. So interesting to look at that. I'll dive into cryptos. One thing I was looking at on the crypto chart, I think it might have been on the daily chart actually, Joe. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, it's just interesting to see, and bear with me on this. These spikes in volume that we see here, 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 here. Now, normally we see these spikes following a sell-off. You can see here as well. And the reaction from these spikes is after we see these spikes on the sell-off, we don't really go much lower. It's almost like one of the more influential participants in the crypto space is coming in and supporting the market. And we see nice reaction higher, and we're trading around the all-time highs, got just up to 68,500, reacting lower from there. But it'll be interesting to see. Also, we got a MACD crossover to the upside, so that's pretty positive from a daily perspective. But we have got this trend line that we're looking at. The trend line comes in around about the 62,500 level. So I'll be very interested to see when we do get this next spike in volume. And it's sort of like you can see they're quite unusual, so I'll be looking out for that. Ethereum just retracing from the new all-time high around about 4,850. Ripple picking up ever so slightly, but really sort of like in the doldrums compared to the big brothers. And Cardano, the interesting one for me, the level to watch is 247. Really need a daily or even a weekly close above 247 to regarner interest in this asset. Looking at the indices now, indices pretty positive overall. We are trading near all-time highs in a lot of these indices. However, once again, we've seen a little bit of a reaction lower yesterday. I had a bit of a spike up this morning in FTSE. We managed to get up to the 7300 level, although it's pulled back a little bit from there. So a little bit of a grind higher in FTSE continues. The DAX under a bit of pressure after posting a similar sort of move up towards the 8 o'clock open. The 8 o'clock open for me is always that sort of like flush of buy orders, sell orders, whatever happens based on the overnight. You see the exchanges opening up at 8 o'clock and you see a spike. This morning we got a spike up to 16,063 in DAX. I actually thought it was a level to fade. I sold that around there, and I might. And basically, the hourly chart has formed a bearish outside candle, which is negative. So I might go with that on my gun to head. I'm not sure. The overriding weekly chart, obviously, we've seen price action stall. Let's get rid of that and just like get the actual all-time highs. 16,107. My stop for this DAX short is above there. Yeah, so we stalled again around about this level of resistance, looking for the next real momentum push higher if we get it. If we don't get it, then it'll be a move down into the weekend. New all-time highs in the Dow this week, 36,500, just above there, and still looking pretty positive.
We managed to get stopped out on our trades yesterday, though.
Yeah, I know, it's funny that, isn't it? We're sort of like, yeah, I thought we were going long of the indices, but managed to get stopped. So maybe we are topping out a little bit of a head and shoulders formation forming here. Neckline has been broken, got Ichimoku cloud resistance. Maybe I'll look at the Dow actually, go for it again. It does feel a little bit toppy. Really needs some sort of bullish story to lift this, but obviously with the, I suppose, Tesla story impacting the tech sector, NASDAQ won't have done too well and will be under a bit of pressure. So maybe that'll be a little bit of a catalyst for a correction lower. S&P also stalling in front of resistance, 4,687. Support comes in at 4,665 on the hourly chart. But yeah, it looks a little bit, let's have a little look at this. I like this, lower highs here. You can almost say we've got the potential for a triple top. I don't know. It sort of like feels like this could be quite a key level now in S&Ps. Anywhere below 4,687. Stop, maybe have your stop above there, fading this move based on maybe a triple top, double top, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, this is the level of support, the spike lower here, the resistance here, the resistance here. So yeah, look out for that. Maybe that'll be the gun to head, Joe. I don't know.
Lots of options.
Options?
Yeah, lots of options.
Oh, lots of
These
options.
indices.
Sorry. I thought you wanted me to trade options. Get away from that.
Binaries.
Yeah.
We're basically doing that anyway with the gun to the head trades.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, so China 50. This is still under pressure. It's reacted from a spike low around about 15,100 last night. We actually bought that dip on the intraday trade idea, so that's nice, and it's reacting higher from there. A break below the 15,100 level should open up the downside. Remember, 14,500. We seem to be edging closer to that real pivotal level. But again, would need a serious catalyst to push it through there. Head and shoulders formation potential in the Hang Seng. We have broken through the neckline. We're retesting it now. And the Nikkei, again, under a little bit of pressure like all the indices at the moment, but trying desperately to shake that gloom away. Over to you.
Thank you, Steve. So I will start off with the dollar index that continues to trade within this bullish channel, although we have seen 3 consecutive down days on the dollar index, but we are posting a move higher today, up by 0.21% so far. Maybe a bit of a shift into less riskier assets, maybe. I mean, overall, I still think this is building up quite nicely for an eventual break of these resistance levels up here between 94.47 to 94.74. So above that zone, I think we've got a really nice bottom pattern that's played out on the dollar index on the longer term charts, and we can start thinking about higher prices up towards sort of 97.72, then up to maybe 100 on the dollar index. So yeah, still looking bullish on that front, and obviously as a result of that, it's looking bearish on the euro US dollar front, still trading in a downtrend channel. Yes, you've seen a couple of or 3 consecutive days of strength, but it's not been able to overcome any meaningful resistance levels, and we're posting a reversal today, down by almost 0.3% as it stands. The big support level still is at this 115.25 level. If that gets taken out on a closing basis on the daily charts, then we can start expecting lower prices in line with this downtrend. And the head and shoulders top that's in place targets a move down to 110.50-ish. So still looking for opportunities to sell into strength there. With regards to cable, that sort of stalled yesterday, had a decent reaction from the support at 134.11-ish, 134.12. But yesterday we posted a doji candle, as you can see just there, and we're backing it up today with further selling. So nothing that's really overcome any meaningful resistances. We had this big Marubozu type candle that was posted on the 4th, and it looks like we've stalled really around 50% of that. If we just take a quick look, there's the blue line. So often the midpoint of these Marubozu candles can act as a resistance point. And as you can see here, that 50% is the dark blue line, and prices have stalled into that, and it's acted as a resistance level. So expecting lower prices there and continuing to sell into strength if seen. So the big level to watch on the downside, it is 134.11 level, which is the swing low that we posted here on the 29th of September. And we got pretty close to it as well on the 5th of November. But if those levels are taken out, then in line with this short-term downtrend, we're expecting lower prices down to our next zone of support that we have, which is a 38.2% fib level at 131.65. Looking at some of the, actually, let's take a look at Euro Sterling quickly. That's still continuing to trend lower. These two currencies battling out for who's the weakest, really, and sort of cancelling each other out at the moment. Overall, it does favour more euro weakness over sterling, but these rallies, I think, are probably going to be sold into. We've still got this engulfing candle sort of looming large over the price action. And for me, I think lower prices will be seen here. Yes, we could maybe attempt at moving up to this kind of resistance line here, which is the upper end of the downtrend line. But for me, I think lower prices are still expected here. If we take a look at Aussie yen, that obviously giving us an idea about what's going on with the Japanese yen. Obviously, after a massive period of weakness, we are seeing some yen strength and some shunning of these riskier assets like Aussie and New Zealand dollar. We saw the this pair moved lower to the 38.2% fib level yesterday, but it didn't manage to hold. It actually closed below that on a closing basis. And just that faint line there you can see is actually the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders that played out. So expecting some sort of support to form here if the buyers that are active in this market are looking at it from a technical perspective, then we may see a little bit of a push to the upside. But below that, we do have quite a lot of support to target, a big cluster of what was previously resistance, which now should act as support on a retest. So be interesting to see what sort of price action we see around here and whether or not the buyers are keen on owning these riskier assets like Aussie, for instance. If we look at Aussie dollar, that price action is looking quite mixed. So we did have a head and shoulders top pattern that played out. Then we sort of formed a double bottom, looked as though we were going to break out, but that hasn't really materialized. So I'm a little bit confused with this one, which is why I haven't gone into too much detail. I probably need to have a rethink about this, to be honest, and redraw my charts and see what I think. But yeah, overall, that's how we're looking on the Aussie currencies. Let's take a look at dollar yen. That continues to dip from these highs that we posted at 114.32. We've got some support down here at 112.22. We've seen 4 consecutive days of selling. We are trying to gain some strength today. Overall, obviously, we are bullish of the US dollar, but the yen is performing quite well as well at the moment following that massive sell-off that we saw. So a bit of a mixed bag here. I think down at this kind of level, 112.20, 112.30, I'd maybe be interested in looking at longs on that. But for now, I'm not sure there are many opportunities. But that wraps it up for me on the FX side.
Nice one, Joe.
So gun to the head trades yesterday, as we have already alluded to, Steve and I went long of the indices, and we thought it might be a catalyst because typically we are sellers of the indices. I know they continue to move up, but when you get moves on indexes, they tend to be much sharper on the downside. So if you're day trading, that tends to be the best way to play them is to try and fade into gains. But we tried to reverse it yesterday and went long, and it didn't work out for us. We were both stopped out despite the markets actually closing slightly higher on the day. So Steve, what are you thinking today? I'm thinking maybe we might have turned a corner. Maybe Tesla might be a bit of a catalyst on these markets. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it all feels a bit tired up here, Joe. But it's felt a bit tired for about 10 years, really. And yeah, I don't know which one to go for. I'm contemplating DAX. I mean, I'm sort of in a win-win situation, really. I'm short of DAX already. So
don't show off, Steve. No one likes to show off.
Oh, it's not everyone else short of DAX, really? I thought it was obvious. So I won't do that because I don't really want to influence people. Because if I say sell DAX, then could get done for
Talking your
that
own book,
really
aren't you?
insider trading and all that malarkey.
Well, just before you look at Nasdaq, I'm going to do Nasdaq again because I've tried that the last couple of days. Shall I
Okay. Yeah,
take a look at that?
you take a look at that, mate, because it
Right.
looks like you're just making it up on that because you're buying it or selling it. You're not sure what you're doing on it.
No, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but this was the reason that I went long of it yesterday. So this is a short-term chart. This started back in October, nicely trending higher. It was into this sort of support level yesterday, but if we and forming a bit of a triangle, so maybe a consolidation before a break to the upside. We did actually get the break to the upside. So let me just get rid of that as yesterday's trade. But then this happened, and I'm sure we all know what that was. That was the Tesla sell-off. So we saw that get stopped out pretty quickly. Now, what I'm looking at is that we're actually the other side of this trend line and below this support here that we had at 16,273. So I'm wondering from a technical perspective whether or not I should be looking to sell the reverse side of this trend line. So that's what I'm going to go with today. In the last hour, we have posted a engulfing candle just there, engulfing all the previous hours worth of gains from between 7 and 8 a.m. So I'm going to jump in now and sell that at market, which is currently 16,202. I'm going to put a stop loss just there at 16,301, and I'm going to target a decent sell-off today in Nasdaq.
Go for it, buddy.
Why not? Hey, let's go there. 15,925, 2.82 R is what I'm looking for today on Nasdaq. See if there's any follow through selling today. There is a new issue today. Is it Rivian? It's an electric vehicle maker, which is supposedly going to rival Tesla. So that may be quite an interesting watch as well when it IPOs later today.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm going to go with China 50, and I'm going to go really tight on my stop. It's formed a bearish engulfing candle in the last hour. I'm happy with that. Getting short here at 15,384, stopping at 15,434. So only a 50 tick stop, which isn't a lot in the China 50, and looking for a huge sell-off down to 14,884. That's a 10 to 1 risk reward, baby. How about that? You're shocked,
Just say
aren't
10
you?
to 1.
10 to 1, yeah.
Wow.
10 to 1. It's running at Kempton in the 230. It's the favourite in that race is the
sponsored by the Chinese dentist, is it?
Well, I didn't say the dentist. I was going to say. I'm not going to. Doesn't matter which dentist it is. Yeah, so that's my trade idea.
Okay. So that's cool. So we have got some Chinese data today. We've got CPI and PPI both due out. I think from what it says here on my calendar is 1:30. I don't know if that was 1:30 this morning or whether that's 1:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, I thought it was at 2:30, but I must be wrong. Yeah.
Okay. At 1:30 in the US, we actually have the US CPI figure for October. Initial jobless claims is also due out at the same time. So keep an eye out for anything linked to US indices and crosses. And at 3:30, we've got the EIA crude inventories number. Stockpiles rose by 3.2 million barrels in the previous week. So that's pretty much it from us, Steve, I think, unless you've got anything further to add. I don't know if we want to have a quick look at Tesla chart just because we didn't look at it. And people might be interested in seeing what it's done.
Yeah, shall I get it up?
I've got it here. Let's have a quick look. So this is the daily chart. So we sort of posted a couple of indecision candles up here at these highs, up at sort of, what did it get to on high? What was the highest price? 12.43. Bit of an island reversal there, Steve. So it's been cast adrift at the top.
Yeah, that's the daily chart. Yeah.
So we've seen a gap higher and then a gap lower, and then obviously this huge sell-off yesterday. So there is a gap down here that I've already got drawn on my charts, which is also the previous high from back here in January, which would be, I think, quite a natural target to look for on the downside for buyers to sort of get some value. Basically, looks like we've got a buy order in there actually, Steve, on our trade ideas at the same level. So
Absolutely, yeah. And we can
think that
actually
makes a
see
lot of
also,
sense.
yeah, we can actually see on my chart, we've got a,
Yeah, let me share your chart.
we've got basically, we did an earnings report on this also when the price was trading here. We had levels of resistance or levels of target on the upside. Obviously 1000 was the big psychological level. It gapped up through there from the earnings. This were our resistance levels. So yeah, I think filling this gap down to $895, $900 is a natural target. If we even take a look at maybe from the start of the up move, can we say the up move started here? Why not? We can say what we want. That's a 50% retracement of the move from May 21 low to this week's high. So yeah, like it. I think 895 and even the 820 area where the 61.8% fib should offer some support, and this peak back here in April as well, coming in at 780. So yeah, sliding downwards. I think it should extend again today. That's a really bearish looking candle.
Absolutely. Okay, right. Well, good luck to anybody trying to pick the bottom on that. Do be careful because you don't often see immediate bounce backs on candles like that, but we may be wrong. I've been proved wrong before on Tesla, that's for sure. So yeah, good luck to anybody that's having a stab at that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's it from us, Steve, I think.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Yeah, lovely.
Cool. All right, have a good day, everybody. Cheers.
Andrew, cheers, mate. Bye.